Warm welcome to the ED edition of the Limelight. My name is Sempala, and indeed we can again say happy ED celebrations to all of you wherever you're watching from. And it's time to look at those critical matters and have a deep discussion on those matters of national importance. For almost 3-4 weeks, it's been the iron sheets scandal. But besides the iron sheets scandal, the issue of potholes all over Kampala also took a center stage in public discourse, and we put it into perspective this evening as we look at that social media campaign, the pothole exhibition that took internet by storm, and indeed it yielded results, because even this week it tickled the parliament into action when the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Tayebwa, came out to implore authorities to work on the potholes in Kampala. And again, the head of state also directed the Ministry of Finance to release the quarterly contribution of 6 billion shillings to Kampala Capital City Authority to ensure that the potholes are filled, road maintenance and repairs are also put in action. And we think, and actually it's perception now in the public, that possibly social media could have played a big role into tickling the authorities into action, and that is why we connect with Mr. Allan Sempala, Allan Sempala Kigozi. And Sempala Kigozi is a tech lawyer, but also a digital rights activist, and we'll be asking him why and how this has actually happened. Welcome to the Limelight, Allan.
Thank you, Apollo. Good evening, viewers.
Well, let's go straight to the issue, and I would want to ask you, Mr. Sempala, if I said that it that actually tickled the head of state to come out and direct that the roads should be repaired, am I right or wrong?
Apollo, you're right. I think from COVID times, we should have learned a lesson that internet and social media played a big role in mobilizing people to be safe, to stay home, and creating awareness for them to understand that the disease is real, it kills, and has great effect. And because of social media, we had great successes and strides in fighting COVID. And people got to understand that you don't have to always go to your relatives. You can actually use social media to interact. I think in even the operation of organizations, the meetings, now you hear of Zoom meetings and social media meetings. Now we can use social media more to do our personal work. But from this pothole exhibition, what we can learn is that for both government and us, the Abantu Awansi, is that this is what we've been telling people, that social media is a big tool. Let us leave it, let us not restrict it. Because what has been happening right now is everything is restrictive. Even the government parastatals that are in charge of regulating and supervising are instead restricting the use of social media, which has been really absurd. But we've seen even from the Entebbe saga that was because of social media that we had a change in Entebbe. And believe me, those who have gone through Entebbe, there is so much change, and the good manners at Entebbe should be replicated in other departments. So with this social media campaign, we should learn a lesson, and for government, that it's very important that we don't restrict social media, because it's the only way probably left for government to understand what is taking place in society. Now, without that pothole exhibition, I'm suspecting they didn't even know we had potholes, because those who rule us have big cars. They have 4x4s, they have their own roads, they have the Entebbe Express and the bypass, which takes them to their home. And if they have to leave the country, certainly where they pass, there are no potholes. So it had to take one citizen with a humble move to let them know that, by the way, this side where you don't pass, we are really doing bad. And I think with the response of the Speaker and the President, now we are rest assured that social media is the way to go.
Well, you can tell us how far do you think social media activism can go? Because in this aspect of social interaction and social and all that, and can it also go into the political realm and actually make things happen?
Yes, it can. It can. Social media can have or the benefits and the challenges that come with the use of social media. Sometimes the challenges are that there can be some misinformation, which is why regulation is required. But where you have to regulate social media, it has to be necessary and proportionate when you're regulating it, to the extent that you don't now disenfranchise the benefits that come with social media, which is interaction and passing of message. We saw it in this election that we just concluded in 2021, that the Honorable Chagulanyi only used social media, and he had a far wide reach to his supporters, that he used social media to pass his message, which is what he's still using right now. So we can still use it in our political life, in our social life, and in a way find a balance to regulate it so that the misinformation or misusing it doesn't affect the benefits that come with social media.
Actually, to ask the question around, about how far social media can push activism, and again on the issue of regulation, we really picked reports that the Honorable Minister for ICT, Honorable Chris Bariomunsi, actually came out and warned that those who are spreading those images which tarnish the image of the country will be dealt with. And how far then can one or can that social media activism be regulated?
No, I think the Honorable Minister took it in bad faith. He should take it in good faith, that they were able to understand that that the roads are in dire condition, and they were able to understand that, by the way, instead of constructing roads in Congo, because we had our government is constructing roads in Congo, it's important you first concentrate in Kampala. First make Kampala roads passable and usable, then you can concentrate in other roads or other priorities like they think so. The Honorable has to take it in good faith, that social media helped to bring the dire conditions our roads in, other than just threatening. Because if you now threaten and promise to come, with an iron fist to deal with it, then you're going to miss the benefits that you ought to have known. Probably they didn't know that these roads are in this bad condition. Similarly, in the saga of Entebbe, probably they didn't know that people are suffering through Entebbe. Extortion was going on. But because of social media, they knew and they dealt with it. So I think you should look at it in the positive side, not to go full cycle. Because even right now, we still have Facebook still blocked, and this campaign actually majorly was on Twitter. Probably if Facebook was open, it could have gone far and wide. So it should help them understand what is going on in the community, and they should use it as a tool to understand, to check them to see if
but do you agree that to some extent the image of the country is at stake when such a activism campaigns are running?
It's not. It's not at stake. It's not at all. I disagree. I disagree because then you know what to deal with, and I think they should see it as an avenue, because you see right now, not so many media houses can be allowed to do such kind of activism. Now, what social media does is that it helps them understand what is going on. If they deal with the roads, trust me, now that the government is acting and you see, like you rightly put, the president directed to release funds to KCCA, where will they get the potholes? You get it? Now, if the issue comes with the health or the education sector, then they deal with it. I think social media makes them a better government than a worse government, they think.
Let's talk about what, because there are some section of the public who have actually picked it from there and picked a perception that possibly social media activism can replace or can be a substitute to the street battles where political supporters of political groups are always in running battles with police and security agents. What do you think?
No, I think they are right, and it's very fortunate that they've actually realized it now, because once all meaningful ways of dialogue and intellectual discourse were closed, now what is left is social media. It's the only way you can use to iron out your grievances, whatever you think is not going wrong, right, with the way government is leading the country. You can use social media. You can use it without necessarily tarnishing or encouraging misinformation, which is why we are saying that use it responsibly. We are not against regulating social media. You can regulate it, but government should do it in a way that is necessary and proportionate. You get it? And where really there is need to do it. Right now, I think it's being restricted and censored when we don't even have that need. You get it? So I think those who are doing political activism, they have now a good lesson from those who are, because Dr. Spire is not a politician.
He's a journalist.
He's just a journalist, a professor who thought, no, this is what I only have. So right now what they only have is social media. If you really have good causes to promote and to let people know, then people will pick them up. And social media is the way to go.
Finally, you rightly, and it is true, said, and it is true that Facebook is still banned in Uganda. Won't then the authorities go straight to these social media sites? I mean, blocking all these platforms, if at all what is published is not good in their own sense.
Which is why we are saying that don't go with an iron fist, because you're going to lose the benefits that come with social media. You see, for me, I see this as an opportunity for government to fix what is not going right. So if you block now radio stations, some can't do this, some don't have licenses, then you're blocking social media. People have nowhere to vent their grievances. So the only way they have to vent their grievances, the avenue they have, is social media. So we call upon government, don't go on with the iron fist way of dealing with social media, because it's the only way you can know what's going on in society, and then you have a chance to actually fix what is not going right.
How easy is it, finally, how easy is it to regulate such a social media platforms where a person can go into his room and design memes and these satirical images in just a few seconds? How easy or difficult is it?
No, I think sometimes it's hard for them to regulate social media, because sometimes they don't have the means to deal with the platforms. Because right now, I will tell you, people are using Facebook even when it's what?
It's closed.
It's closed and regulated. But satirical way of expressing people your thoughts and has been around since time immemorial. You can't stop Apollo from being satirical about a situation that is going bad. So I think that is infringing on freedom of expression. People have the right to express themselves in a way that they feel is right to do.
Thank you so much, Allan Sempala Kigozi. He's a tech lawyer and a digital rights activist, and I was actually amused with that the satirical drawing of His Excellency the President sitting in a boat in the middle of the city, fishing from a porthole. Really, really, really amazing. Well, let's wait to see how it works out, but well, it looks like social media campaign or social media activism is the way to go. My name is Minister Polo. Let's catch up again next week on Friday. Good evening and a good week ahead.